Welcome everyone to this full moon Sidereal Astrology report. This is for Monday, June 20th, 2016. I'm Athen, and this is for Sidereal Astrology. If you are new to the channel, be sure to check out the link down below because the signs are different. All right, so today we have a full moon, and it just so happens to be the summer solstice as well. So it's a good time of, I think, seeing that there is this change of our perspective taking place, you know, with the seasons also changing, but here with the full moon in Sagittarius, which is all about that life view, that worldview. So a full moon here is about finding the balance with this perspective, with this worldview, and really accessing the power of perspective. Because how we choose to see things determines everything. It's everything. You know, because if we're not seeing things for what they could be and for the possibilities, then we close ourselves off to those possibilities. In other words, we only see things that we're looking for, that we're aware of, that we tune into, right? And so this is what Sagittarius is all about. It's about having that top-down perspective, seeing the possibilities of life, seeing our overall life, our life path, our life purpose, and tapping into that free-spirited energy of freedom. Because at the end of the day, that's exactly what our life path is. It's freeing. It's open. There's no limitations. There's nothing holding us back. We're open to the endless possibilities. Now, I say that with caution because obviously we don't want to just go into Sagittarius and just think, you know, it's all only possibilities and anything is possible, you know, without having a grounded perspective in reality. And this is where Gemini balances out Sagittarius. This is where Gemini is about reality. It's about objectively seeing things for how they actually are. So we can see things for how they are without judgment of them. We can perceive them, we can see them, and then within that framework, within that foundation, we can see what is possible from that groundwork, from that objective worldview. And that's the best way to balance both Sagittarius and Gemini, is to see what's possible, yet stay grounded in reality. And that's what Gemini is about. It's about practicality. How can we utilize these things and actually not only have it about possibilities, but actually turn those possibilities into something practical, into something real that can be tangibly lived. So that's the balance of the full moon. All full moons are about this balance with this opposition. The Sun and Venus are shifting into Gemini, emphasizing that, which I'll talk more about here in a minute. But the highlight of all this is changing that perspective. Flipping things upside down, seeing things in a way that is different from our normal way of thinking about them or seeing them can change everything. And it's in that change that things start to appear differently. We start to perhaps see some new possibilities, some new things we didn't see before. And this is the power of Sagittarius. You might think of it as the power of manifestation, the power of positive thinking, however you see that, but it is a tremendously important part of life. So we're coming to the high point with that, and it's going to be a bit of this Ophiuchus energy as well, which is also this healing. All right, the moon has been transiting over Scorpio and Ophiuchus these past couple days, so it has been about accepting these deeper things in life, these things within us that maybe we've brushed under the rug, and now we can lift up the rug, we can accept. And it's through that acceptance of these deeper things that we've normally or in the past pushed away that we come to the transformational energies of Sagittarius. Again, this is the worldview. This is like the butterfly after the butterfly has gone through the cocoon phase of Scorpio and Ophiuchus. This is the transformation point of the chart. So there's definitely transformation happening. And, you know, this is a great way of working with it, both in terms of the worldview, but also in terms of the acceptance within, the acceptance of everything deep about life. Okay, the human, the instinctual, the quote-unquote lower aspects of life within self. Accepting all aspects of life liberates us. Now, I say that too because the full moon is squaring up to Chiron, suggesting that this is a good way of challenging ourselves with this full moon. How can we go within and do this healing? And I think a great area of healing is through that detachment that I've been talking so much about. And this is because Chiron and Uranus, for that matter, who is trining up to this full moon, are both in Pisces. And this is about connecting to the present moment. This is about acceptance, about detaching ourselves from everything that is not within our immediate sphere of influence. And this is what Chiron's been showing us, is healing this connection to the present moment, to God, to the universe. So things like meditation, things like deep psychological understanding, which is all about acceptance, accepting these deep aspects of self, of life, of how things are, can be tremendously healing at the moment. Our willingness to do that will determine the amount of that healing taking place. That's very constructive. Now, in terms of the Uranus side of it, there's this freedom about it. There's freedom in this full moon. And it's not only from that free-spirited energy of the open range, but here of, again, the detachment with Uranus and Pisces. Uranus has been showing us the immense importance of that letting go, which then frees us up. Okay, and I think that's very supportive. I think that can even come easy during this full moon, even though we've had a lot of this haze and uncertainty these past couple weeks and really this whole year since Saturn has been squaring up to Neptune, which is about the uncertainty about our structures in life. In fact, this aspect is going to be important today and this week because Mercury is playing a very important role. Mercury is going to be opposing up to Saturn and squaring up to Neptune in the T-square here today. Because basically what we have is Mercury going over the position of the last new moon. So the last new moon was right around here, and now Mercury catching up with the Sun, because he was retrograde, now catching up is going over this Grand Cross part of the chart. So it's still a great time to challenge ourselves, like I've been saying. But this week, and particularly today, with our minds, with that Gemini perspective, because again, Mercury is that ruler of Gemini. So when it comes to that mind, when it comes to that communication, again, challenging ourselves here. And I think a good way of working with it is balance. Balance with the mind, balance with the communication, having that mastery of this mind and communication. And this is about seeing things for how they are, which is Saturn, but not going to the extreme of Saturn either, not getting too caught up into just the dense reality of things. If we go too far into that, that can imbalance us. And likewise, we don't want to just get into the mental energies because then that can aloof us. That can separate us from the reality. So it's about having this grounded perspective with this full moon, which is also in opposition, but also this Mercury opposing up to Saturn. And I think challenging ourselves to have this mental and communicative centeredness and awareness and that mastery. Now, in terms of Mercury squaring up to Neptune, this is, again, Saturn squaring Neptune, this uncertainty about things or about the structures we're building. This can be also fog. It can also be doubts. So if you're feeling that, a great way of working with this is through that spiritual development, like I've been talking about. And what Neptune shows us is, again, that detachment. And some exercises, because, Mercury is all about those practical exercises, those routines, things like meditation, things like yoga, and all of that stuff that helps us connect to the present moment can be excellent here today to challenge ourselves with. All right, so that's the Mercury energy. There's that full moon at 0823 Eastern time. There's that opposition up to Venus. Balance too with relationships, I think, is important because there's a lot of new relationship insight that's been unfolding this month. Okay, and there's been a lot of this opposition with the Sun and Venus. So with this full moon, it's about balance with relationships, with tact. We're learning a lot about tact and relationships right now at the moment with Mars retrograde in Libra, how to be independent and direct, but in that harmonious way. All right, and I think watching any excess too with Venus, if it's on the material level, I think can be important also. All right, but the strongest energy is this full moon in Sagittarius, this high point, this status check of how we can change that perspective in our lives. All right, so I hope you guys have a fantastic full moon. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.